Right. And materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa are sufficiently punished. He acts in a manner which no one can imitate. For example, the Lord, when he appeared as Ram, bridged the Indian Ocean. When he appeared as Krishna, from his very childhood, he showed superhuman activities of killing Putna, Aghasur, Saktashur, Kalia. And then his maternal uncle Kamsa. When he was at Dwarka, he married 16,108 queens, and all of them were blessed with a sufficient number of children. The sum total of his personal family members amounted to about 100,000, popularly known as the Yaduvamsa. And again, during his lifetime, he managed to vanquish them all. He is famous as the Govardhandhari Hari because he lifted it at the age of only 7, the hill known as Govardhan. The Lord killed many undesirable kings in his time, and as a Kshatriya, he fought chivalrously. He is famous as Asamordhava, unparalleled. No one is equal to or greater than him. Om Jnanam Timrindas Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे शील प्रभुपाद की जय श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय यदा हि अधर्मेण तमुधियो नृप जीवन्ति तत्रेषु हि सत्ततः किल धत्ते भगं सत्यमृतं दयां यशो भवाय रूपाणि ददत्युगे युगे. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord in his transcendental form manifests his supreme power. The truth positive shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages. This is very beautiful verse, and we have seen similar themes at various places in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Krishna says, wherever there is decline in religion, I incarnate for two purposes. One is to annihilate the miscreants, the other is to give mercy to his devotees, which is what is mentioned here as well. Tadatmanam sajamyam dharmasya. So basically, Krishna is saying himself in Bhagavad Gita that he appears to to give to the world. Paritranaya sadhunam. He's there to save the devotee. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dharma sansthapanarthaya. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Every age he's appearing. So this way, and then his appearance is also very transcendental. Janma karma chame divyam yove vetti sattvataha. Tattvadeham punarjanma na eti mameti. So Arjuna. I was having a discussion with someone about worshiping, and the people of different faith worship um, different gods, and they 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 take them on the face value as God. Maybe they are not worshiping God. Maybe they are worshiping God. Sometimes they're worshiping demigods and may not know the difference. And they can go and approach these personalities for um, generally a conditioned soul driven by a heart full of material desires reaches out to these personalities for material acquisitions, whether it's wealth or women or name and fame and position and status and whatever it is. So Krishna says that's okay because they reach out, but then they are reaching out in a undesirable way, because if they reach out to me, they will get much more. In what sense does he? What does he mean really? Krishna is saying that if they reach out to the demigods, yes, I will increase their faith in those demigods, because that's what I do. I increase the faith of people in what they have the faith, and then gradually, if they get purified over the period of time, they can come to me. So that's one way of doing it, because people want material desires. Krishna has to facilitate it, but in such a way that ultimately, someday, sometime, God knows how many births, they can come to him. At the same time, um, what it cannot do is that when living entity approaches to demigods, that worship will not lead to the uh, uh, will not lead coming out of the birth death cycle, the cycle of birth and death, because the heart will still be contaminated. The remembrance of such demigods will again bring more material desires. Last time I was awarded this time I was awarded that. So they will continue to worship in the frame of mind to continue their samsara chakra, the misery of this material world, continuously go through the embodiment of in the body and live whatever that body is of animal or human beings, and they'll continue with the 8.4 million species of life. Whereas if somebody remembers Krishna, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, they're transcendental, they're not part of this world. Divyam, Yove Veti Tattataha, one who knows me in crux, in essence, Tattata, in reality, Tattadeham Punarjanma, that person will not take Punarjanma, he will not take again any birth. And that is the beauty of Krishna's transcendental pastimes. It instills faith. You can ask what you want to ask. Krishna does not uh, dislike such devotees. In fact, he says these are punya atmas. These are punya atmas who approach me. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Jana sukritana arjuna. Sukrit, they are punya. They are sukrit. They are pious. Who are these people? One who is in need of money, artho, artharthi. One who is in need of knowledge. One who is in need of artho, artharthi. Who is in distress. Jigyasu, who's inquisitive. Krishna is not declining anybody. He's saying, if you come to me, not only what you want you will get, or you don't get, but ultimately you will get what you should get as a constitutional living entity, not get the transcendental abode, and not take death and birth in this material world. And this is the purpose of Krishna taking incarnations. One of the major purposes is to attract living entities back to him. by transcendental pastimes. And such transcendental pastimes are sometimes superhuman, or many times superhuman. And that is what this verse is mentioning here, that he shows special mercy to the faithful, those who are inclined positively to Krishna, by remembering his pastimes, by knowing his pastimes, because they are divyam, they will be, they'll get rid of their birth and death cycle altogether. And then, of course, he also annihilates the miscreants, because those miscreants, if they are administrators and kings, they are ruling on non-Vedic way, uh, and just exploiting the property of Lord. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada has beautifully plotted the whole background of from the top to bottom. This is the structure. Everything belongs to Krishna, and there are people who think they can utilize in whatever crooked way they want to, and and then these are vicious elements. They cheat, they do all kinds of nonsense, and because of these rulers, the general public has to suffer the famine, the epidemics, the wars, and therefore, such people, when they are so degraded and they are the dominant parts of the society, Krishna has to, or the Lord has to appear by his transcendental material world is nitya baddha, but Krishna is not. Krishna is is nitya mukta. He's not nitya mukta. He's transcendental. Mm. You can't use the word nitya mukta. Mukta means he must be baddha sometimes, but never ever he is baddha. He's constantly the supreme personality of Godhead, whether he's a child, whether he's a parent, whether he is appearing as a devotee, in whatever way. But if somebody unlawfully, without sanction of the Lord, um, gets into the pinnacle of sense gratification, that's where the Lord will take the incarnations. And um, which means when Krishna appeared at that point in time, the of of uh, limit of adharma has must have crossed all the Vedic boundaries, and therefore it was happening. Therefore, Krishna has taken birth, and we see how such rulers were there: Kamsa, Jarasandha. They had not only had powers of this world; they also possessed a lot of other kind of subtle powers, and they were utilizing all those powers. Karna, they were all representative. Duryodhana is representative of Kali Yuga, and Krishna took birth in amongst all of them. So I was just meditating on the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and I would like to uh, wish everybody a very happy Gaur Purnima, which was yesterday. We celebrated yesterday. In the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya has done a lot of superhuman activities. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has in detail specifically mentioned about the Mahaprakash Leela of Lord Chaitanya. 21 days of 21 hours of ecstasy, 21 hours non-stop ecstasy in the house of Shivas Thakur. Shivas Angan is called Shivas Angan. In Shivas Angan, Panchatattva, which is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advait Gadadhar Shivas. Adi means Advait Acharya is there, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advait is already there in Panchatattva. In Adi means there were more, like Haridas Thakur, Murari Gupta, and Ganga Das, all these amazing, amazing devotees of the Lord. They will get together and they'll dance in the night. And one such day, Lord Chaitanya would never like to hear his own glories when Advaita Acharya will say that just like Krishna appeared in the village of Vrindavan, um, in the city of Mathura, but he enjoyed his pastimes in the village of Vrindavan, in the house of Mother and Yashoda. Similarly, uh, Chaitanya has appeared between amongst us, enjoying his pastimes with Jagannath Mishra as son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. Lord Chaitanya will cover his ears completely, and he would shout out that no living entity can be Supreme Lord himself. We are all servants of the servants of the servants. Please do not say such words. And he'll cover his ears. He would never like to hear any of such things which would claim him to be God. He would completely deny that because he was in the mood and in mood of this uh, of his own devotee. Therefore, he would not like to hear any of this. Mm. So there are very beautiful pastimes where he started to call out the names of different devotees and to start telling them, "Oh Haridas, do you know you are Lord Brahma himself?" Then he'll turn to Advaita and he'll say, "Do you know who are you? You are Sadashiv." Then he will turn to Shivas and he says, "Shivas, you are not an ordinary soul. You are Narad Muni." And Nityanand, he'll turn to Nityanand and say, "You are Lord Balaram." Like that, Lord Chaitanya would remind them of their previous births, previous identities. And one day, uh, it happened that Lord Chaitanya had a very grave mood, and he suddenly assumed his form as Supreme Lord. And he he walked up to the altar and he said on the stage or the altar, and he started to tell his devotees that all of you are worshipping and chanting the holy names of Krishna. I am the same Krishna. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of you all worship this Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the same person as I am. I am not different from my holy names, and you all are chanting my names day in and out, and I'm very happy with your devotion. Please now sing my Abhishek song. And that way, then Lord Chaitanya would hear nice, beautiful prayers, and proper Abhishek was performed because Srivas Thakur said to everybody, "Please, let's perform a beautiful Abhishek of Lord Chaitanya." And hundreds of water pots of Ganges were brought and they were getting poured on Lord Chaitanya, and he was enjoying this bliss of Abhishek. And there were so many wonderful ingredients which were also brought into Abhishek, and there was and then at that point in time, Lord Chaitanya asked, um, he asked that who is this lady who is bringing these parts of water for my Abhishek? And that time, he was told that, "My dear Lord, she is the maidservant of Shivas and her name is Dukhi." At that point in time, Lord says, "Really?" He call for Dukhi, and Dukhi comes before Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya says, "Your devotion is so pure for me, and therefore today I award you the name Sukhi. You will no more be Dukhi. You will be always blissful, and I award you love of Krishna in your heart." And that lady, maidservant of Shiva's, she immediately felt ecstasy in her heart, and she started to kind of dance and started to speak very loudly. Hari bol, Hari bol. She could not contain in her heart every every other moment. She was just constantly chanting the holy names of the Lord. And that way she walked away in a very maddened situation. And then Lord Chaitanya told Shivas, uh, Shivas, do you remember one time you were listening katha at Devanand Pandit's ashram, and Devanand Pandit is did not understand the science of devotional service, and therefore he was very proud, and his disciples, they always felt Devanand Pandit to be very scholarly. And one day when he was sitting, Devanand Pandit was speaking about the Khalya Leela. And when you were hearing my names, and when you were hearing the name of Yamuna, you were calling out my name in lot of devotion. You were calling out Kalindi, Jamuna, Vrindavan, Brajadham, Krishna, Krishna. In that situation, all the disciples of Devanand Pandit, they they started calling out your name and started saying that who is this nonsense, who is disturbing the class, and they all came together and threw you out of the class. And that time, because you were remembering me, I felt terrible. I felt so bad for you. And that day you started to read the words from Shrimad Bhagavatam, and I gave you ecstasy within your heart. And that time, and that when you felt that ecstasy, you became maddened by the love of Krishna. And that's how, after that, whenever you have picked up Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever verse you have read, you have felt the same ecstasy, Shivas, from that day onwards, which you felt that day, because I am providing the love of God in your heart. And that is the ecstasy of Srimad Bhagavatam you feel. And then Shivas started to cry out in great anxiety and love, my Lord, why did you bother to do this? Similarly, these pastimes are there where Lord shows beautiful. He called out for Murari Gupta. He called out for Murari Gupta, and he said to Murari Gupta, do you know who you are? Murari Gupta looked around and he said, Murari Gupta, you are none other than Hanuman. You are Hanuman. Murari Gupta was looking around. Yes, my lord. He said, do you remember, Hanuman, how you went out and jumped across the Lanka and you saved Mother Sita from the clutches of that demon Ravana? And then he was trying to insult you. Just by your tail, you burned the entire Lanka. And then later on, you were instrumental in protecting my consort Sita, and uh, you also brought this Sanjeevani booty and saved my brother Lakshman. Do you remember, Hanuman? Rai Gupta was smiling and looking at the Lord, and he was going in ecstasy, because at that point of time, Lord Chaitanya showed him his form as Lord Ram. He was seeing in the background the form of Lord Ram, such beautiful form of Lord Ram, who this form of Lord Ram, which is always in the heart of Hanuman. And then he saw Mother Sita, then he saw Lakshman. He started to call out, "Oh Supreme Lord, oh my worshipable Lord Ram, oh my worshipable Mother Sita, oh brother Lakshman, how fortunate I am. Oh Lord Chaitanya, you are none other different, you are not different from Lord Ram." And he started to bow down and he started to pay his obeisances. And then Lord Chaitanya says to Murari Gupta, rise, Murari Gupta, you rise. Um, Please rise, and you ask a boon from me. Ask a boon. And then Hanuman says, my dear Lord, just by showing the form that I was hankering for, you have fulfilled all my desire. What else can I ask? And the Lord Chaitanya said, please, no, you ask something. Please ask some benediction. And Hanuman says, my dear Lord, please always keep me under your Lord shelter of your lotus feet, and make me a servant of your servants. Please do not cast this Murari away. Never cast this Murari away from your service. And Lord Chaitanya and then said to Murari, you are already given that benediction, Murari. So be it. Like that, then he called out for this special soul with the name Kola Vecha Sridhar, and nobody else knew who is Sridhar. And they asked Lord Chaitanya, who is Sridhar? And then Lord Chaitanya said, you go towards the end of this particular street, outskirts of Navadip, and in that hut, you will find near the hut somebody calling out my name loudly. And you ask that person to come and see me right away. And devotees went down to the hut of Sridhar, and Sridhar was chanting. And when he was told that Lord Chaitanya, Lord Gauranga is wanting to see you, and he said, Lord Gauranga wants to see me, my Lord wants to see me, and he kind of fainted. And then when he was awakened. He came to Lord Gauranga, and Lord Gauranga said, Sridhar, oh Sridhar, I'm so uh, I'm I am so conquered by your constant love and devotion. Sridhar, do you know that every afternoon, every day, I would come to your hut to purchase banana leaves from you, and I'll haggle you. And so he started telling the pastimes between Sridhar and himself as young Nimai. I'll say that I would always come and I'll haggle you for prices. And then you will say that why you want such cheap prices from me. And this way, there was a transcendental pastime. It will happen between Sridhar and Lord Chaitanya. And Sridhar, he would accuse Sridhar of cheating him. And Sridhar said, no, no, Lord, I'm not cheating you. I am telling you the fair price. This is the price you ask any other banana vendor in the whole of Navadvip. This is the price. And then Sridhar, then Lord Chaitanya said, no, you are definitely cheating me. I will only buy it for half the price. And say, if you don't give me the full price, how will I get enough money to worship Ganga? And Lord Chaitanya, little Nimai, young Nimai will tell Sridhar that, oh, so you want to worship Ganga? This Ganga is emanating from my lotus feet. And why don't you just worship me then, Sridhar? And Sridhar said, no, what arrogance? Uh, what arrogance is this that you are asking me to worship you instead of Mother Ganga? And then Nimai, sometime Nimai will tell him, so I see that you worship Krishna, don't you? And he said, yes. Sridhar will say, worshiping Krishna is my life and soul, because worship by chanting holiness of Krishna, I get such happiness, such deep satisfaction that I don't need anything else in my life. And then Lord Chaitanya will say, okay, why are you fooling yourself? Look at them. They are worshipping Durga. And whilst they're worshipping Durga, they got all the opulence of the world. They're wearing silk, fine clothes, fine silk clothes. They're eating nice food. And what are you getting? You're living in this thatched roof hut, and you have nothing to eat. What are you getting? And he said, no, my lord, I have the wealth. I have this treasure of holy names of the Lord. And like that, then Lord Chaitanya, he would say that you have a lot of wealth in you, Sridhar. He said, what wealth? I do not have even good clothes to wear. My roof, my hut hasn't got a proper roof. So why do you say so, Nimai? And Nimai will say, no, you have a lot of wealth in your heart, and one day I'll expose you to all. So on this day, then he's exposing Sridhar's devotion to everybody, and he's saying to everybody, look, Sridhar, this is Sridhar who has highest devotion for me. And then to Sridhar, he started showing his beautiful form of Krishna and Balram. And Sridhar, when he took darshan in Lord Chaitanya, the darshan of Krishna and Balram, he goes in very high ecstasy, and he started to see other gods and demigods too. And Lakshmi ji and all Shiva, they were saying, this is amazing darshan. And then Lord Chaitanya asked Sridhar, why don't you ask me a boon? Ask me a benediction. Sridhar said, no, Lord, just by taking this darshan, I'm purified. He said, no, no, please ask some boon. Okay, I'm going to give you all the opulence of the world. I'll make you the, I'll give you the heavenly planets. She said, no, my dear Lord. Say, okay, I will give you the 8 mystic siddhis. I'll make you mist. I'll give you these powers. And Sridhar says, my dear Lord, it will be simply a disturbance. And then he says, Sridhar, I'll raise you. I'll raise you to Vaikuntha planets. And Sridhar said, no, my dear Lord, I don't want to go to Vaikuntha planets. And then Lord Chaitanya says, Sridhar, you're breaking my heart. I really want to give you something. Please take something from me, Sridhar. And Sridhar says, my dear Lord, if you really want to give me something, please give me the benediction that young Nimai, whenever I take birth, that young Nimai comes to me and he haggle me for banana leaves and he steal away my banana leaves. And that is the beautiful face of Nimai. I want to take darshan all the time and have these pastimes with Nimai. And Lord Chaitanya was defeated by the devotion. And he said, you conquered my heart, Sridhar. So be it, Sridhar. Like that, these are all superhuman pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. wherein he's showing his beautiful forms of Hanuman to Ramchandra to Murari Gupta, Krishna Balram to Sridhar, and so on. And he's revealing people's past lives and revealing his identity as Supreme Lord. And mm, so this avatar of Lord Chaitanya is a Gupta avatar. It is hidden incarnation. It's not out and about like Lord Krishna, who would defeat Indra by taking, by putting Govardhan in his little finger, or killing Putana at such a early stage of his life, and killing so many demons and dancing on the hood of Kalias. So those pastimes were also were superhuman in a very different way, where Supreme Lord is showing himself as Supreme Lord. And in the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord showed his universal form to Arjun upon his request, and where it was identified that entire emanation, entire creation was within the Lord. How all these fighters were dead, declared dead. All the universes were within a very fearful form, which Arjuna could not take it for long. And similarly, we see how Mother Yashoda, when she opened her mouth, and in that mouth, there was a entire creation seen by Mother Yashoda. So in Bhagavatam, if you see chapter 7th of Canto 2, verse number 26, exactly define the same thing. When the world is overburdened by fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he extraordinarily, no one can properly estimate how great he is. How great he is. So this is the beauty of the Lord. And so therefore, I would like to conclude for now. It's 41 past on this particular verse. That line is very special, shows a special mercy to the faithful. That's why the Lord appears. And of course, he takes care of the demons, by the way, anyway. But his primary reason is to have this merciful mercy to his devotees, because he can't see them suffering in this material world. I'll stop here. If there are any comments and questions, perhaps we can take that now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your blessings on the chat box, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Manu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. My
Please explain humble obeisances. Glories to Shri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for explaining wonderful, wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and the Mahaprakash Leela. It was beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.